Hey guys, it's been a few days. Anytime I take a few days off of this, I always feel rusty. This is one of those things that seems like you have to do every single day. Get the camera in front of your face and just start talking. So I'm gonna give y'all a little update on just kind of what I've been doing. I told you guys I would give you an update on the whole sweet potato bulking experiment. This whole bulking thing I think will probably last me all of 2020. I don't see myself doing any sort of cut or shredding protocol in the near future because I haven't really tapped out my potential on how big I can get or how strong I can get, and that really interests me the most right now. I did the whole shredding thing and wanted to see how lean I could possibly get, how I could sustain that, all that, and I did that kind of for the past about 2 years, maybe even a little bit longer. I'm over it. I definitely like staying lean, and my body tends to prefer staying lean, and that's maybe just a part of my my genetics or my nutrition choices. But I do want to just get yoked. There's no better way to put it. I just want to see how big and strong I can get, and that's a fun thing to work on when you're in your early 20s. And I'm pretty much injury free. I don't really have any injuries. I don't have any limitations, so I'm careful about that stuff, but I do want to see what's my potential, how big can I get. Now, to that end, as I've told y'all about before, I've been doing this sweet potato bulk. So my general diet is carnivore, and that's the way that I feel most comfortable. But what I added to that was basically carb sources, and I experimented with different timing, so pre-workout or post-workout, or late at night. I experimented with different types of carbs. At some points in the beginning, I incorporated pretty much just junk food carbs, like some cereal and bagels. That quickly had a really bad effect on my digestion and my stomach and skin and all that kind of stuff. So I switched over to sweet potatoes. That was fantastic as far as workout performance went. That was great. The tricky part of that was it was extremely satiating. It was very, very hard for me to eat enough with the sweet potatoes. They're very satiating. And the other thing that I was kind of doing wrong was my protein was extremely high. When your protein is that high, I was definitely having over 200 grams of protein a day. When your protein is that high, it's very, very satiating. So I had these two factors that were kind of working against my bulk. Super high protein, and it's not super high, but it's high enough to the point where it would kind of be very, very satiating. And also the sweet potatoes, which are a high satiety food. Potatoes and sweet potatoes, both very high satiety foods. So I was listening to the recent podcast with Stan Efferding with Paul Saladino, and it kind of popped the idea into my head of maybe let's ease up a bit on the protein. There can be some diminishing returns there as far as bulking goes. And let's focus on swapping in an also easily digestible carb, but one that's not as satiating, which would just be white rice. So just making about 1 to 1.5 cups uncooked white rice at night. So whatever that comes out to in cooked rice. So just making some of that and then having that with my steak at night. So that is the current experiment that I'm about to start running on myself. I swear this is a lifelong journey. The experiments never end. But it's okay as long as you're able to accept that process. I'm not stressed out and impatient the way I used to be. So that's the experiment I'm going to start running. Gym stuff has been great. Workouts have been great. Feeling very, very strong. I had a great 315 PR on the deadlift recently, so that was good. So strength is just going up overall. Consistency has been a little on and off. There's been a lot going on in my life with just career stuff as I plan to make a transition back into acting in 2020, and there's some work that I have to do for that, and meetings and networking and things like that, preparation, headshots, all that kind of stuff. So doing that, it has taken up some time, and there's, you know, driving and traveling involved in all of that. So my consistency hasn't been the best. That's okay. You just sort of get back on it and figure out what you need to adjust. So I've been cool with that, but overall progress is headed in the right direction, and that's sort of what I'm doing currently. Another thing I would add to that is that I'm currently incorporating those protein shakes pre-workout. So rather than training fasted, I'm having the protein shakes pre-workout. Scoop of collagen, scoop of whey protein, 6 raw egg yolks, some pink salt. I take the, forgetting the name right now, the Optimal Carnivore Organ Complex. I'll take like 6 to 8 of those. And that is the protein shake. I might also have some seafood on the side with that, so some salmon roe or some sardines. So I'll have a little bit of that. And then I work out. Later on throughout the day, probably for dinner, I will have my usual like 2 New York strips. I usually do the bone-in ones, so about 2 bone-in New York strips. And beside that, I'll have the white rice. And the goal with the white rice for me really is just to eat as much of it as I can. So to the tracking crowd, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't have any specific numbers for you, nor do I care to track and quantify at this point. You know, I'm kind of working towards it with somewhat of a deadline in mind, but to me it doesn't really concern me in what time frame I accomplish my body composition goal. It's not like I have a movie coming up at a certain time and I need to hit a certain body composition by that time. If that was the case, you bet I would be tracking. I might have a trainer or a nutritionist or somebody helping me out with that stuff. So yeah, when you have those sort of really, really hard deadlines, then you do want to really dial things in. But for me, I don't have any hard deadlines, so I'm just having fun with it. So that's kind of the 2020 goal. The goal weight that I had set for myself was to hit a good 165 body weight, still sub 10% body fat. I think I might be creeping up on that 10% mark. Definitely not as lean as I used to be, and I'm completely okay with that. I'm very, very happy with that. I don't want to be that lean at the current moment. So I'm currently 163 and holding that pretty well. You know, fluctuates from 162 up to 164, but holding that very, very well, and I'm super happy with that. So just as I get stronger over time, and as I stay consistent with the training and with the nutrition, that weight is slowly going to creep up over time. You know, the thing that they say is that you can't put on more than, I don't know, 1 or 2 pounds of muscle in a year, something like that. So I'm well aware that some of the weight that I'll put on will be fat, some will be water weight, and I'm okay with that. But overall, if I can get to a good 165 and make it look good, you know, make it quality weight, I'll be pretty happy with that. And then in 2020, I'm probably going to end up upping that goal to about 170 and see if we could creep up on 170. Hopefully maybe hit that 405 squat. But I got nothing but time right now. Nothing but time. So I'm taking my time with it and I'm working on it. The reason that I'm taking so much time with this goal and I'm not really pushing it is because of the amount of other balls that I'm juggling right now in my life. The amount of other things that I'm doing, I don't need to push that hard on this. It's like the idea of having all these levers in your life. You have all these levers and you can push really hard on one at a time, but if you're pushing on a lot of different levers at once, you kind of have to manage your energies. And I don't want to devote my energies right now to, you know, my physical goals, because that to me is the fun part. That's the fun stuff. I'm devoting more of my energies to career work right now and work in my personal life and finances and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm more so focused on currently. But now I'm rambling. I will talk to you guys later. That's where life is at right now for me with my diet and my training. See you guys later. Catch y'all in the next video.